But I think the main things is at the end of the day, volleyball is volleyball. It's in the same 9x9 court, and the rules are the same. So we. Is that on the back of your shirt?
Yeah, that's on the back of the shirt.
You did. A little free shout out for you. And it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the net. You need to still execute to the best of your ability if you want a chance to win.
What's going on, everyone? It is Tuesday, December 5th. It is episode 99 of the 9x9. It is the best 81 square meters of the best volleyball content on the internet. My name is Everett Delorme from Toronto. That is Rob St. Clair from Chi-Town. And we've got a great week of volleyball to recap to get it going. But first and foremost, if you're a member of the Canadian volleyball community, you know that we went through this last weekend with heavy hearts. There was a tragic incident up at Thompson Rivers Universities where 3 members of their men's volleyball team were part of a horrific crash. As of now, 1 member of the team has passed away and 2 more are in critical condition in hospital. So we want to send our best thoughts and regards to the family of Owen McKinnis and our best wishes to Owen Waterhouse and Riley Brennan, who are in the hospital in Kamloops. We have added the GoFundMes for these athletes and the memorial fund as well below. So if you're able to, definitely feel the need or feel free to go down there and support. Basically, they were on their way home from practice and a big truck came in speeding and crushed into them. Yeah, it was great to see the coming together from the entire volleyball community over the weekend. Moments of silence everywhere, orange being worn everywhere. But tough time for a lot of people right now. So we just want to send our regards to them.
Yeah, I have nothing to add to that. Can't imagine what that community is going through, what Canadian volleyball is going through, what U Sports volleyball is going through. The support has been huge, but the blink of an eye, the worst thing possible happened to that team and that community. So our best to them. Yeah, all the links are in the description to go help them support. If you're able to do that, please go check that out. Yeah, there's nothing to say to lighten the blow of this one. Our heart's definitely with everyone in Canadian volleyball.
Our heart's definitely with everyone over at Thompson Rivers, because that's going to be not a fun thing to go through.
No.
All right, let's get to not some real volleyball, but the stuff that you guys are here for. Massive week in the Champions League last weekend, Rob. Honestly, last Wednesday might have been one of my favorite volleyball days in a long time. It was just banger after banger after banger. So much was going on, so many good matches, so much good action. Let's start with the women's side. First and foremost, we have to talk about the return of Paula Agonu to Vakif Bank. I thought this one was going to be an all-time classic.
Me too.
I thought this one was going to be an absolute banger, and it was almost an hour in shower. It was the dongiest of dongs. It was a slaughter, an absolute slaughter.
This was a donging of the highest order. A 65-minute beatdown in Turkey. And I mean, what, 17, 17, 16? This was not even a little bit close. I mean, the splits, like the first 2 sets started off 8-3, and then it just kept on getting worse. It was a remarkable performance from Malonza. I mean, I watched this game. I was really excited about it because there were so many storylines. Obviously, Agonu against her old team, but also Karabayama and Nika Daldorop. You got to remember how many players that Malonza pulled away from Vakif Bank this offseason, and this just was never even close. I mean, Agonu, 21 points, 14 for 31, 3 blocks, and 4 aces. That was impressive. Dana Retke, second highest score for Malonza, 10 for 12 attacking with 2 blocks. I love to see that. She's like pretty clearly the second best or maybe even best American middle blocker right now, because she definitely outplayed Shaka Bogu head to head in this game. And I did the math on Vakifbank's outside hitters combined. This was Gabi, who's the best outside in the world, plus Ali Franti and Bianca Busha. 9 for 35, 6 errors, 0.08 efficiency. And Jordan Thompson, their primary scorer at opposite, wasn't very good. So add all that up, and you get a 65-minute hour and shower. This was a beatdown.
At home for Vakifbank too. That to me is the most astounding of it all, because this is the two-time defending champs. This is Vakifbank we're talking about. This is some of the best crowds in the world, right? Home court advantage should mean something. You're welcoming in a player that just won you a championship. This should mean something. Like this is absolutely incredible. To me, it's just a reminder that Egonu is still one of the best players in the world, but this is serious alarm bells for me for Vakifbank. Like this needs to be this has to be like a players only type of meeting. Like what is going on here? This is inexcusable.
So I'm curious to see how they respond from this, because remember, something pretty similar happened to them last year where they got knocked out of, I think it was the Sultanlar Ligi semifinals. Like, remember after the earthquake in Turkey happened last year, there was all that crazy jumbling of the calendar. They were playing like all these crucial matches like right on top of each other, and Vakifbank lost to Fenerbahce early, much earlier than they should have, and then responded by going out and winning the Champions League. And we suspected at the time that something like a players only meeting probably happened in that locker room then, and they were able to turn it around and win the Champions League. So that sort of thing has happened to this club before. The difference is now they don't have Paula Egonu anymore. Do they have the weapons to make a similar turnaround this year to get back towards the top of European and global volleyball where they belong? And I'm honestly not sure. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either, right? Because this is essentially the same team. Like it's Gabi and team and co, but unfortunately, like Jordan Thompson is not what Isabel Hawk is, nor what Paulo Egonu is in terms of presence on that right side, right? And there's always been a little bit of balance there for Vakifbank, and it's just not there at the moment, right? And unfortunately, that P2 position has really been struggling for them as well. Like that's like Franti was bad in this one, and she was a bit of a hole. Like not only attacking, but her reception was terrible. 18% positive, 18% perfect. Like that's not good enough.
No,
you know. So I don't know if like Vakifbank's going to need to change their play style to a much more even play style. Like they're going to need to be a lot stronger down the middle than they were in this one, if they're going to need to be a threat long term, both in the Sultanlar Ligi and in the Champions League.
That's what I was going to bring up. Is this middle duo of Zehra Güneş and Shaka Bogu, who's able to play Champions League because there's no foreigner limit, like that probably should be on paper the best middle blocker duo in the world. That should be as good as any middle blocker duo anywhere in club volleyball, anywhere.
And it has been for a long time.
Right, but this year it's not, and definitely Cansu Özbay has been part of the problem there. Her setting this season so far has not been good enough, although we've seen her kind of have a long period roller coaster situation where she goes through a couple bad months and then rights the ship in time for the end of the season. So that's definitely something I have my eye on. But this is just a very good reminder of how good Paula Egonu is. That was my main takeaway here.
Yeah,
she got a little bit of fire underneath her playing against her old team and looked like the best player in the world sort of athlete that we've seen for 5 years now.
Yeah, 100%. And that's like Egonu's always going to have that ability to turn it on. Like she has that Kobe-esque extra level that when things need to get going, like she can get it going. And then that was fully, and like to me, like Malonza had an attitude in this one, right?
Yeah.
And it's very, I do think that Egonu needs to be like much like Kobe again. Like it needs to be her team, you know. And I think that's just a fact. Like she needs to be the centerpiece. And you could tell that she is on this team because it seemed like everyone came together and dug that extra centimeter like deeper just to be crisper, just to be cleaner, just to be a little bit more efficient. Because obviously she was fantastic with the rest of the team as well. So you could tell it meant a lot to them. Not only you're going against the 2-time defending champs, like that should be enough, but there was that little bit more like, let's go out there and let's help it go to get this.
You know who I was impressed by too? It's rare that we compliment this player on this channel, but when it's deserved, it's deserved, and that was Miriam Silla. I thought Miriam Silla had an awesome game. Like statistically, she was okay. Like 7 for 15, only 8 points total. Like that wasn't that impactful on the stat sheet, but passed the ball well as the main target. What was reasonably efficient on offense and brought this really infectious energy that I liked watching. I think like she probably was the number one player, like you're talking about, to feel the juice that Paula Egonu needed in that matchup and help give it to her.
We knew that those two are besties.
Oh
right?
Yeah,
like those two feed off each other. So that's not surprising at all. And to me, that's why we've been asking why are they going with Silla as opposed to Elena Cazot from France, but it's clear why. Like she's a Gonu's girl. Like
yeah.
And
I mean, if she plays like that, it's a no-brainer to keep playing her. But that's the big if. This was a disappointingly lopsided game, but it provided some very interesting storylines for sure. And kind of what we'll talk about, I think, throughout this show is, and we've had the question over the past year, 2 years, Everett, ever since we started the 9x9 99 episodes ago.
Crazy.
What's the best?
99 for the 9x9.
That's right. What's the best league in the world on the women's side? Is it Italy or is it Turkey? And after this week, the answer is resoundingly Italy. If we looked at just this week alone, the answer is resoundingly Italy. And the other blow in that particular battle was this one. Scandici beats Zachabasha 3-1. And this match was awesome. This was
I wish you went 5. I really wish you went 5.
And it almost did.
It did almost go 5, but Scandici really pulls back. And now, Rob, I have to say this before we get into it. For the past year and a little bit, I've viewed Scandici as Zhu Ting's team. Like that, like she was the superstar on that team. That's who I look for. After this game is undoubtedly Katerina Antropova's team. Like there is no doubt about it. She was phenomenal. 32 points, 27 for 58, 3 blocks, 2 aces. She was incredible out there. And she was going toe to toe with Boskovic, who is up there in that upper echelon of opposites that we have in the world. And she was unfazed. This was a masterful performance by Scandici through and through.
Yeah, so impressed with Antropova. Like you said, toe-to-toe with Boskovic. Their attacking numbers were very similar, but Antropova had the huge impact in the blocking and serving game. And so the thing that impressed me most, and it really came out in that first set, which Scandici steamrolled. I thought as we were watching that, like, oh my God, are we going to get another Malonza versus Vakovic beatdown? Because the backcourt defense by Scandici in that first set, and the momentum that created, that set, and really the whole match, but especially that first set, that might have been the best backcourt team defense in women's volleyball I've seen in years. They dug everything. They touched every ball, even like Anna Carolina, the middle, after she served, she was chasing balls down over the barrier and bringing them back. And then that was where Antropova really showed up, because she was, not only was she pretty efficient on high volume, they were ridiculous out-of-system situations that she was taking swings at, too. And I thought she was outstanding. And I do, though, give credit to Zachabasha for fighting back after
huge fight from them.
I mean, you get clapped 25-14 in the first set, and you respond with winning in the second. But what it came down to for me was, I think Zachabasha was up 24-22 in the third, and let that one slip away. And You lose an opportunity like that, it's difficult to come back from.
Yeah, 100%. I thought for Scandici, this was the first time that I really saw it all click at like a high level, because even Britt Herbots was fantastic. This one, 13 for 19. She only got blocked once, no errors, like 68% hitting. That's not bad at all. And Zhu Ting was real solid. Percoyale, sorry, stumbling over her name, was fantastic in defense. She passed super well. Like, this was a really good team effort by Scandici. And
Yeah.
that's what it came down to for me. Like, yes, of course, Antropova was fantastic, but it was the team effort. And on the other sides for Zashabasha, like, they were having such issues on the left side. Like, Alexa didn't look good, and when she came at the beginning, like, I'll be the first one to say it didn't look good. But
Yeah.
even Vrankova
0 for
was
6 with 3 errors.
0 for 6 with 3 errors. Yikes!
That's
That
pretty
was, yeah. Like, I was happy that when they took her off, just like today, like, it wasn't her day. But even Vrankova, who's supposed to be their P1, like 7 for 20 with 3 unforced errors, like, just not that good out there for Zashabasha. Of course, Boskovic was fantastic, and it was a really good right side battle. But you're not wrong, Rob. When we talked about the supremacy between Italy and Turkey on this week, full credit goes to Italy in this one.
Yep, that is a undoubtable conclusion after this week. A couple other thoughts on Adzadjabasha. Like, so Berkay, our Turkish friend, is talking in the chat right now. He has a take. He says this game once again showed that how much Boskovic struggles to lead her team, unable to serve the ball well enough to put pressure on opponents, and when she doesn't usually beat the other top 3 opposites in the world. Because so for a long time, obviously it was Hawk, Boskovic, Egonu. That was that crew at the top, and now there's no question that Melissa Vargas belongs in that group as well. And it's clearly 4 elite players at that position in the world, and then there's a drop off after that. I think that next group, 5, 6, 7, is in some order: Antropova, Jordan Thompson, and Magdalena Stysiak. And then, depending on what position Abrar Karakurt plays, she's probably in there somewhere too. But I would be very curious to put the numbers together of the last couple of years in both club and national team. Those 4 great opposites, Hawk, Boskovic, Egonu, Vargas, their records against each other. Because it feels to me like Berkay is right, and Boskovic struggles to beat those other top players. Maybe I'm feeling that wrong, but because statistically, you look at the stat sheet and she was fine. Like, her efficiency was within 1% of Antropova's. I did the math on it, but it definitely felt to me like Antropova was the better player in this match.
Oh, 100%. There's no doubt about it. Like, just how they were going to her. It was very much like the focal point. She was, and Boskovic, like, it just, I don't know, like, and this is just like the eye test, like the gut feeling. You could make the argument, however, that maybe, especially in club, she hasn't had around her what the others have had. I definitely think that's part of the case. I don't know how much of a leader she is either. Like, I haven't watched enough of her, and I've never seen her in person to like really make a comment on that either. But you know what? You're not necessarily wrong. I think definitely the best that we've seen her is on a Serbia team led by Santarelli.
True.
Right?
Yeah,
like,
that's World Championship.
That's where we've seen, and the World Championship before that as well. Did
right.
he lead them in that? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was coaching them too. Right? So I think physically she has the ability to be amongst that upper echelon. But Rob, I think that this may have been that flipping of, in terms, like, in my mind, maybe I might start putting Antropova just above Boskovic, and Antropova is creeping closer into that upper echelon of a group. Like, let us be reminded too that, like, Antropova wasn't terrible for the Italian national team.
Oh no, she had a good summer playing with.
Despite everything going on and all of the drama going on and all of the noise around it, she was pretty good.
Yeah.
So I think, like, she's, but is this going to be a Spertoli situation where she's just going to be a fantastic Italian who's sitting on the bench?
Well, Antropova is very good. She is not above Tijana Boskovic yet. I will not say that. There's still a clear cutoff to me. But another thing that we got to talk about in this game is the setting, because we got a very good Maja Onjenovic game for Scandici against her former team. And Adzadjabasha's setting situation is still very much up in the air. I mean, I feel bad for Elif Shaheen because everywhere she goes, she ends up starting every match on the bench, even though, in my opinion, she's the best Turkish setter there is. Because she can't start over Cansu Özbay, even though every time she comes off the bench, they win on the national team. And here she can't start over Naz, who retired from the national team a couple of years ago, even though when Shaheen comes off the bench, she wins. Like she plays better. So some coach is going to have to figure that out eventually, that she is actually the best of the 3 current Turkish setters that there are. So I want to keep my eye on that as well.
Too many trench coats on the sidelines in world volleyball out here. But you're not wrong. I mean, her injection into the lineup is what like brought them back into it in the second set and revitalized things. And if only. Oh, actually, like, what did I say? Like, Akbas isn't even a trench coat. That's the most frustrating thing.
Yeah, he's a younger guy that still can't figure it out.
Yeah.
Remember last year when Eczacıbaşı went undefeated in the regular season and everybody wanted him to take the Turkish national team job, and then they blew it in every tournament they played, and then he and Croatia got relegated from VNL. What a fall from grace.
Thank God they went and got Santarelli. My goodness. That man is a maestro. Truly is.
No
is there another coach? I know this is a bit of a sidebar, but is there another coach right now who is on the same run that Santarelli is? Like, how many different events has he won?
Oh man, the only
like
thing
he wins multiple trophies a year on both in the club and the international level.
I mean, yeah, he was literally flawless this national team season. It was just like Corneliano getting pumped by Fenerbahce in last year's Champions League. That's been the only recent miss. But I mean, nothing anyone could have done about that Fenerbahce serving from last year. There's no question that Santarelli is the best coach in the world. Here are the rest of the scores from Champions League, and like even the games that we didn't talk about in detail. Look at that. I mean, there were five setters. Like this is what we've been waiting for in Women's Champions League. Like even the games that weren't including the elite contenders were still good. Like Likane versus Łódź, good. Potsdam versus Kalsit Kamnik, like that shouldn't have been as good as it was, but 16-14 in the fifth. Like plenty more 5-setters in there, and then Fenerbahce was the saving grace for the Turkish league, beating Budavani Łódź in a 3-dong. But this is the week of Women's Champions League that we've been waiting to see. And unfortunately, this week, starting tomorrow, we go right back to those same matchups from week 1, where there were 9 3-dongs and 1 4-setter, where it's just going to be beatdowns, and it's not even really worth talking about. It's kind of annoying. I also don't understand why they're rushing this calendar so much. I've never seen
so fast.
Yeah, we're halfway through Champions League in the first week of December. I've never seen that,
which is crazy because the super finals are still going to be like end of May,
right?
Like we are rushing to wait. We are rushing to wait. Spread it out a little bit. Like,
yeah, what are we doing?
It's the holiday season. Give the player time. Especially like if you just had such a jam-packed international season, you're going to jam-pack Champions League. Like, think of the players here, guys. Goodness gracious.
I hope they all get like a month off around the holidays and the new year.
There's no way. There's no possible way that anyone's getting any time off in the volleyball world.
Yeah, this is volleyball we're talking about. But yeah, shout outs to Women's Champions League for giving us some really good entertainment last week, and then similar shout out to Women's Champions League for not even being watchable this coming week. It's the duality of that tournament.
Before we move on, Stefan in chat is bringing up some good points. Boskovic is 2 World Championship golds, 3 European Championship gold, and 4 Olympic medals.
Yeah, her national team career has been way better. Now, like Haak plays for Sweden, and Vargas has only played for a year, so there's an asterisk there. But interesting part of that conversation for sure. Get in the Volleyball Source Discord. Let's have some more detail on this topic of Vargas, Haak, Boskovic, Egonu. Let's compare the 4 of them. Get in the Volleyball Source Discord. Links in the description. We'll talk about this in some more detail.
We'll do it out there. Is that all we want to talk about here for the women's side, Rob?
Yep. Let's move on to the men.
It was a massive day on either side. As I said, Wednesday was one of my more favorite days. And Rob, on the women's side, we talked about Italy's domination over Turkey. On men's side, it was Turkey's domination over everyone else. 2 massive 5-setters with the teams from the Everett League picking up some big wins. Where do you want to start?
Well, let's go chronological and do Hawkbank versus Berlin first, because
Love it.
we were excited about that series because it was two big matches in the same gym. Because Hawkbank and Zero Bank share that arena in Ankara. And so first thing in the morning, at least my time, the Berlin Recycling Volleys came to town. And Berlin went up 2-1 in that game and should have won that match. They really should have. Like Berlin had what, 3, maybe 4 match points in the fourth set in that overtime there that went 29-27, and that ball that got dug and just fell, and when nobody touched that ball in the second contact, and that was painful.
That was painful. That was when you felt like you could literally feel the momentum switch like a fan. Like it was just like as if there was an oscillating the fan in the room, just like, nope, no more for you. That was really tough to watch for Berlin. I do want to give Berlin some kudos in this one though. Like they came out and they played a really good game. But this hockey team is fun to watch, man. This is a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, they're real fun, and Berlin, man, as well as they played, and they got a point out of this, but they are probably kicking themselves because I think they caught
100%.
Hawkbank on a day when Hawkbank was pretty beatable. Namir was not good, 13 for 34 with 10 errors, and was only moderately impactful from the service line. Like that is when you get one of those wings from Hawkbank on a day like that you kind of got to capitalize on it. And Berlin with Marek Sotola had the closest thing to a women's volleyball opposite stat line that we've seen in a while, 25 for 50. When's the last time you saw a men's volleyball player with 50 attempts in a match? Like that just doesn't happen that much anymore.
Yeah, no, it really doesn't. They were really feeding him the ball, and he was pretty good, right? Like 25 for 50 is some good numbers. He did get blocked awesome 6 times, 3 errors, but overall, like Marek Sotola was really solid. I really liked him.
Look at those serving numbers for Berlin. 31 errors.
Yeah, that's tough.
31 errors.
Only 2 more aces than Hawkbank as well too. They went 6 for 22. It just seemed like Hawkbank knew they were going to come back this one. It wasn't their cleanest effort ever, let's say.
But it was fun.
It was fun.
Because it wasn't their cleanest effort, it made it very, very fun. And I definitely think Berlin's probably kicking themselves for missing those chances there in the fourth set.
I do think that this Hawkbank team likes to have fun, and that may lead to some up and down play.
Sure. Yeah, there's no question that there are players on that team that certainly like to have a good time. But that was a phenomenal appetizer for the game that came later, where Ziraatbank took on the defending champions Zaxa. Ziraatbank went up 2-0. And I actually give Zaxa a huge amount of credit for fighting back and stealing a point, because this looked like it was over, and Zaxa convincingly won those third and fourth sets to come back and grab a point. And I was very impressed by that. But Matt Anderson won that match single-handedly in the fifth. He had a kill, then an ace, then forced an overpass, and then like a near ace on match point that ended up winning it. It was really cool to see Matt Anderson. 21 for 36 is at outside hitter is an amazing stat line. Passed the
6
ball
points in that fifth set.
6 points in the fifth set. So
yeah,
he
5 for 8.
He took over. He dominated in the fifth, and then nobody could touch him when it got there. But I do give Zaxa a lot of credit for fighting back and grabbing a point. This is a fun match.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, it's a tough one out there with Vladislav Gil setting this team.
Yeah, he did not look good. He did not look good.
You can just tell that this offense is just trying to work through the kinks of not having Janusz run it. And I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Like the fact that they were still 51% on the day is astonishing. It really comes down to that third and fourth set when they really turned it on. I thought Kaczmarek was pretty solid in this one. Slivka was ridiculous. Who did they have on the left? No, it was Bednarz. No, it was Bednarz and Slivka, but they're just missing they're just missing that crispness. It's
Yep.
so hard to execute that offense when you don't have Giannis running it.
With a third string setter. Yeah, don't ever think that setter doesn't matter, boys and girls.
On the other side of it, though, Rob, do you wish that you would have had this Matt Anderson play for Team USA this summer? Because it has looked like he's been much better for Xerox Bank than he was for the Stars and Stripes this summer.
I'm not worried about Matt Anderson. I mean, what have we lost like 2 matches the entire summer? 3 matches, only one important match. Like VNL silver, like easy win at Norseca, easy 7-0 at Olympic quals. Like, I'm not at all worried about anybody on Team USA performing. But I do want to give Benaran Bulbul a shout out in the middle because he's quickly climbing up quickly up what should be people's world middle blocker lists, because this kid is good. He's really springy. He blocked 7 balls and went 8 for 12 with an ace. I mean, 16 points for a middle, the second highest on the team, is sick. So got to give him a shout out. And Wouter Termat was not quite his usual self. I mean, 13 for 39 with 8 errors is not great. And I'm just, even though Xerox, they went up 2-0, they took control early. I still don't understand why we didn't see Luciano Vicentin.
I don't understand that either.
There's no way he's the 4th outside on the depth chart on that team.
Yeah, I really didn't get that. Like, why aren't we seeing Vicentin? What is going on there? Somebody in Turkey needs to go over to Ankara and figure this out, because Vicentin is good. He is really damn good.
He's awesome.
And I think he would fit well in this team too. Like, I think he would be a really nice piece and a really nice addition to the team. So that was exceedingly frustrating, because it's Champions League. There's no foreigner limits. There's no issues with that. Throw him out there. Like, come on, let's get him out there. I know Twinstra has been there a little bit longer, so to me, maybe that's why. But
that seems like the thing with their coach, is that he really like prioritizes the guys that have been there for a while, with the exception of Matt Anderson, apparently. But yeah,
of course, you don't bring in Matt Anderson and not play him,
right? But I mean, Vicentin gives them a better chance to win, in my opinion. So they did win. Credit to Xerox Bank. That was a good game. But I'm excited to see those 2 teams play again in Poland when hopefully Zaxa's setter situation is a little more stable.
Yeah, definitely. That's going to be great. I'm interested to see how this plays out for Zaxa. I'm not worried, because we saw it to a worse degree, I think, last year, right, where they, like, before they had Bednors, this was like a middle of the pack Plus Liga team, and I mean, they still finished 5th in the Plus Liga because of how they started last season. I'm not worried, but I'm interested to see what repercussions they have, because they have had to like struggle a little bit early on, mostly in the Champions League, because it's really going to affect how it plays out in the playoffs.
For sure. Now Eric Shoji even told us, like when we did the preview with him, that Zaxa's goal is to just get to the bracket as far as Champions League goes. Like they understand the difficulty of the schedule and balancing Champions League and Plus Liga, and their pool is pretty hard. I think we were on the same page that they have the 2nd most difficult pool in the tournament. But once, like, this is Zaxa we're talking about, they've won 3 of these in a row, and I don't know of any of the 3. I don't think they've won their pool any of the 3 times. Maybe the second one, and the second one they got away with it because they got a free advancement in the bracket the one year. But we talked about the bracket runs they've gone on in 2 of those 3 Champions League wins. So get them to the playoffs, and they'll be just fine.
Yeah, 100%. As I said, I'm not worried. I'm just interested to see how it's going to work, because they're probably not going to come in as that traditional number 1 seed. Looking elsewhere around the Champions League from last week, Rob, anything else you want to talk to? Obviously, big shout out to the Lundberg boys. They are still the Lundberg boys. Rob, get this little stat for you. They have the highest percentage of any Champions League team ever. They are perfect 2-0. They have never lost in the Champions League. Best team ever confirmed. I think we can say that.
Love it.
But seriously, big shout out to them. Nice little 3-1 win over Las Palmas.
Yeah, I watched that game. I really enjoyed watching that game. That was pretty competitive, but Lundberg was better. Lundberg was better than Guaguas, and
100%.
And
absolutely.
So like And I was talking to an American buddy. My shout out to Eric Michalski, played at Stanford. He used to play at Ljubljana and played a little Champions League back in the day. He was watching these guys and he was like, okay, why is this Lundberg team so much better than last year? Because they're similar enough. And the reasons to me, we love to talk about the North American guys, but to me, it's the two Germans that are in their starting lineup playing transformationally better that are the reason why Lundberg's playing so well. Yeah, I mean Jan Buma, 17 for 27 and 2 aces at opposite. Like that's spectacular. Like above 50% efficiency in a Champions League game. Like that's wonderful. And then Eric Ruhr is similarly good, like 15 for 28 and pass the ball lights out. Like those two guys have been Lundberg's two best players. As much as we love to talk about of like the 4 Americans and 4 Canadians or whatever it is, it's those two German guys that have been carrying that Lundberg team so far.
100%. I thought Gage was really good in this one.
Gage was great.
His passing stats are phenomenal out there. Jesse Elser, also pretty good, 15 for 30, 17 points out there as well with a couple of aces.
Did get ace 6 times, but we can ignore that one.
Did he? Oh, he did get ace 6 times.
Yeah, that's
Yikes, that is tough.
But shout outs to Gage. Gage pulled like a Grebennikov play where he was jumping over a barrier, like had 1 foot on the barrier and backhanded fist brought a ball back in, but then his teammates teammate promptly freeballed the ball out of bounds, so that was disappointing, but that was a cool play. Very impressed with Lundberg so far. Now they get I think they get JSW in their next game, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, we said it in the preview, Rob. This was Lundberg's perfect opportunity to advance through this pool, right? Yep. And like right now, they
go 4-2 and take second.
Get 4-2, take second, and probably get clobbered by whoever they play. Unless, like, imagine they matched up with Berlin or something. I guess that probably wouldn't happen because Berlin's not going to win the pool. But still, who knows? Good on the Lundberg boys. Around the Champions League, what else? Piacenza beat Benfica. Yeah,
that was a good game. That was a good game, and Benfica actually had a chance to. Yeah, they are. Good home crowd there in Portugal. Benfica really had a chance to steal that 4th set, honestly. Though Piacenza almost gave it away. But remember Everett last week when I was like, hey, keep your eye on Robert Landy-Simone. It's been a while since we've seen a nice Robert Landy-Simone stat line. How about this one? 17 points, 10 for 14 attacking, 3 blocks, 4 aces.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's what we're talking about.
That's not bad.
That's the big man dominating. Now I thought Pierce Schenko played pretty well. They were matched up against each other and Pierce held his own, but I mean, Robert Landy is Robert Landy.
Robert Landy is Robert Landy, and he will forever be Robert Landy.
That's right.
There's so many things. There's holding your own is the best you can do against Robert Landy. Really and truly.
Also, Gironi was awful and should not have started every set. 6 for 17, 4 errors.
I don't understand why they just don't go to Leal back on the right side. Like that's truly what it should be.
I agree.
Right? Like that's how they should rock it.
We'll talk about Italy in a bit, but Francesco Recine is one of the hottest players in volleyball right now.
He's been doing really, really well. Real quick, Rob, you were really high on Olympiacos. You laughed at me quite a bit when I didn't think they'd be that good. They just lost to Rosalaire. Any comments on that?
Yeah, they got 3-donged, and I was very disappointed. I was not expecting that. I mean, they took a set from Zaxa the week before, then they get 3-donged by a Belgian team. That's tough. That's That's tough for now that they are set by Dragan Travica. So I think that's
this is one of my biggest things. Like from the beginning, you were like, "Oh, I'm pretty high on Olympiacos," and I was like, "Why? You've got tragic setting. Like we know what follows because like watch this. They've lost a couple of games. Things are going to start to spiral. They're going to start to yell at each other. Boom, it's all done. It's all gone. You've got some really good old names over there, but man, like they just do not have." Like, I would pick a young team like Rosalaire over an old crabby team who are like living in Athens. These guys are eating like tons of just pastries and baklava and all this stuff. Like, they're not there to play ball. They're there to have a good time.
Apparently. Another one is last week we were talking about Resovia getting upset by Tours and TJ DeFalco being pretty bad. What a bounce back this is. 17 points in a 3-dong over Ljubljana. 17 points in 3 sets is outrageous. 12 for 19 attacking with 5 stuff blocks. So
Gross.
Not a surprising bounce back from TJ DeFalco at all.
No.
Good for him.
That's that's to be expected from TJ. More and more, like, TJ is becoming one of the elite outsides for me in the world.
TJ's sick, dude. He's so good.
He is sick, and he's very much shade of Jiba. Just like watching him and watching Jiba, like there's so many, just the way he moves to the ball and he explodes the ball, and he's so calm and yet so fiery. Like there's a lot of stuff there. So I love watching TJ play. Glad to see him bounce back.
Me too. Trentino also beat Torres pretty convincingly. Alessandro Micheletto, 11 for 24, 5 blocks, 4 aces.
Yikes.
That is domination.
Micheletto has been fantastic this year.
Yeah,
I think he's
really hot.
He's been one of the best players in the world for me. He's one of the top scorers. He's second highest scorer in Italy right now. I'll have to double check that.
That's
but
true.
I'm pretty sure that's where he is. And he's just been real solid, like really, really good, both in Champions League and in league play. And you love to see it.
We'll talk about his stats in Italy in a minute, but yeah, I think that's it for Champions League from last week. No Champions League for the Ben this week because we have the Club World Championship, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I think they're off. They're off this week, and then they come back next week. So the 12th, like next Tuesday, Men's Champions League comes back.
Love it. So far, it's been pretty much going as expected.
Yeah, but every week has been fun. There hasn't been like any snooze fest weeks so far like there have been on the women's side. And next week, I mean, we'll talk about it on next week's show. We got some banger matches next week. We got some bangers next week.
Yeah, but I'm actually, Rob, you mentioned World Club Championships. We'll touch it at the end of the show, but I'm actually excited for it.
Yeah, me too.
They actually have some good teams. -1. It's actually some good teams. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. Does that wrap it up for Champions League?
It does. Let's take a quick break before we jump into Italy to talk about thatvolleyballstore.com. Now, the promo code DADDY, I believe, has expired, and that's okay.
Finito. You can still use Spicy, though.
Yes.
Spicy 15% will get you the goods, get you the gear. A lot of you jumped on that 25% off Daddy code, so we appreciate you for that.
So that one is expired, but still use the code SPICY, which is our sort of eternal discount code for viewers of the 9x9. Thatvolleyballstore.com, lots of good stuff. You got Daddy Stankovic and the Volleyball Source V right there. I really like that collection. So head over there, pick some stuff up. And speaking of Daddy Stankovic,
Daddy.
It's time for everybody's favorite segment, where our hero, our mascot, Dragan Stankovic, is hidden somewhere inside every episode of the 9x9. And if you guys find him and comment a timestamp of where he is, you get a shout out on the next week's show. So last week we were talking about that barn burner 44-42 set in the Lega Volley Femminile, and you see front and center in the crowd up there in the corner.
He's a paramedic now. He can do it all.
Yeah,
he can really do it all.
He's one of the paramedics in the front row.
Love that.
I have just the most fun every week with Daddy Stankovic. So we had a bunch of people find him, and a few new names. This guy Gedman, and Martin Johnson, and Noel Marrero.
Okay.
All three of you guys found Daddy Stankovic. So good job. Keep getting new people participating in this segment. I love to see it. So if you find Daddy hidden in this episode, wait until the live stream is over, then comment in like the main YouTube comment section the timestamp of where he is. That's how you play.
Love it. Where's Daddy? By the way, where's Daddy's shirt?
He's somewhere. Not going to tell you where, but he's somewhere.
He is somewhere.
Speaking of Daddy plays in the Super Lega. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, Daddy just barely walked away with a 5-set win this week over Toronto, which is not a team you should be going to 5 with if you're Modena and you want to be taken at all seriously.
Well, apparently it's a team that everybody is going to 5 with, because Toronto is 0-8, but they have 5 points. 5 of their 8 losses have been in 5 sets, which is insane. Isn't that ridiculous? I've never heard of anything like that. Like to go 0-8 but have 5 points.
That's like soccer numbers, like where a team is like winless, but they're still in the playoff picture because they have all draws. Like that's what this is. That's what this is like.
Probably my number one complaint about why soccer sucks is because of ties. That's the dumbest thing in all of sports. You have a way to break the tie. Break the tie.
There's ties in the NFL too, though.
Yeah, and there shouldn't be. That sucks. That's stupid. Anyway, Maxim Sapochkov came back in this one for Modena and was very good. What, like 25 points on 24 for 36, and they still needed 5 sets to beat Toronto. Like that's bad, Modena. Figure it out.
I don't think they're gonna figure it out. Like this isn't a good Modena team. It really isn't. And I think going away from Gianni was a bad decision. I really do. I'm worried about what we're going to see from Modena over the next little bit. Because like when I make my depth chart right now in my head, they're like hovering around like not making the playoffs. Like there's a lot of teams that I rate better than Modena right now in this.
Let's look at the standings. I mean, they're
right, like
what is that, 7th?
I wouldn't be surprised if Verona jumps them. Like Verona's bad right now, and
really bad.
But they have the potential. They have the potential to make a run. So I don't know. Like other than that, like this is a team that used to win championships. Now they're fighting to stay in the playoffs. Just saying.
Well, when you're struggling and you need to make some changes in the 3rd set or the 4th set, you know what you do if you're Modena? You bring in Daddy Stankovic.
You have to.
You bring in Daddy Stankovic and goes 3 for 4 with a block and just brings that daddy presence to help them win that 5th set. So, yeah, Toronto's gonna steal a game eventually. There's no way they're gonna go winless. They're better than that, but statistically, they're still not good at like any position other than Jeff Jendrick, who is amazing, 8 for 10, 5 blocks and an ace. Like that is.
Come on,
that's
show some respect to the hair, the legend, Mr. Filippo Lanza. He was 16 for 29.
Yeah, but look at his passing numbers.
His passing numbers aren't great.
Aced 5 times.
Aced 5 times. But Gutierrez also got aced 5 times. Man, I need to watch more of this Toronto team. This is probably on a hilarious team to watch.
they probably are pretty funny.
Kyle Russell, Gutierrez, Felipe Lanza. Love it. I need to this week I'm gonna watch Toronto. I'm gonna make myself sit down and watch them because
yeah,
that's great.
They play Piacenza. That actually could be a comedy show of a game.
If there's any game to watch, 2 teams that love to go to 5, and you've got Cubans on either side, so you know that there's going to be some fireworks in this one.
That actually could be real fun.
Yeah. One match that I definitely want to talk to about, Rob. Trento absolutely stomping Lube. It wasn't quite to the Malonza versus Vakov Bank that we saw earlier in the week of the Champions League.
Pretty close,
this was never in any doubt. This was never close to being Lube's game. It was never close to not being Trento's game. They were in control the entirety of the time. DeCecco looked really bad. Only 41% hitting. Not even efficiency.
Yeah, that's bad.
Hitting. 8 errors, got blocked 6 times for Lube as a team. 2-2 for Trento. Just night and day for these 2 teams.
Yeah, Trentino looked crispy. Micheletto again was sick. 12 for 21, a block and 3 aces. Like this dude is on a tear right now. It's very fun to watch him dominate the way that he did when he burst onto the scene a couple years ago. And when Lube's bad, what's the first place I look is outside hitters. Nikolov was dreadful. Aced 3 times on 6 reception attempts is so bad, and got the hook pretty early, which is a bummer because Nikolov's passed the ball really well this year so far.
He has, yes.
Just not this one. And then Ivan Zaitsev was really bad, 3 for 11, and even Adis Lagumsha. This is his first really bad game of the year, 6 for 22 with 6 errors. So just nothing worked for Lube. Throw this game in the trash, move on to the next one, and just try and be better next time. But yeah, this was what I wrote in the show notes: a swift and merciless donging. that's what this was.
I don't know why that makes me laugh so much. A swift and merciless donging. It's exactly what it was. It was really just all Trento the entire time. That's really all I can say. I do think that when Trento's rolling like this, you really need to crack them. And right now, Lube wasn't especially last weekend, Lube wasn't even coming close to doing that. But they kind of have to play almost a perfect game if they want to be able to do that. Like they have to play a similar game that they played to against Perugia for that win against them.
Yeah.
If they want to crack Trentino.
Yeah, Trentino's very good, and they're, like we always talk about them, their floor is very high. They never
Yes.
play. They never play down. They rarely have bad games. They're just very difficult to beat.
And despite having a new coach, they've really continued with that style,
Totally.
which I've really, and like, I mean, personnel
Good
wise, like
organization.
it's
Good organization.
100%, definitely in the top 5 organizations in world volleyball, men's or women's. It doesn't really matter. But like when you look at the personnel on the floor too, like these are guys who, like, it's all the same guys other than Rich Licky, and he fits, like, his style of play fits so well into this. It's just really easy for me, though, Rob. When you look at the Super League, and if you look at the standings, after it goes Perugia, Trento, and then after that, it's absolute fire sale, because like Monza, Piacenza, Lube, Milano, they're all beating each other, and I have no idea who the next best team is. It is a completely different story. I mean, Milano kicked the crap out of Monza yesterday.
That was not even close.
I was out and about. I went and got my Christmas tree. I was busy this week. We're getting festive around here. I'm just seeing the Discord like blow up about Milano versus Monza.
Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
100%. Let's talk about it, because I was looking at the stats, and it seems like Monza just like decided they weren't going to play.
Yeah,
they decided to take a crap instead of playing on this one.
Yeah, they never got off the bus. 14 service errors, 0 aces. It was horrifically bad serving across the board. Offense wasn't good. Ron Takahashi hit 0. Gianluca Galassi hit negative and missed a bunch of serves and got yanked. Like, Mar was probably the best player, 9 for 16. But there was this just was never even a game. And it wasn't really that Milano played great. It was Monza making 14 service errors, 10 unforced attacking errors, and getting blocked 13 times in 3 sets. Like, that's it.
It's a lot. That's a lot.
They
gave up almost
37 points basically just given away.
Wow. If you were to ask me who after Trento would be the second, the team the least likely, to have a game like this, it would be Monza, just by how steady they've been all year. But this is bad.
Yeah, that was bad. I hope that they bounce back, and I think that they will. But this was never even close. This is like Lube. This is a burn the tape sort of game. Like, there's nothing to learn from this game. Just forget about it and move on.
And Milano is really weird this season, where they have games like this and then they have bad games. I know they started without Poro for so long, but they've also been all over the place. Once again, that pack of Lube, Piacenza, Monza, Milano, like Modena and Verona on the outside, that is interesting. Like, give me more of this. The Super League is so compelling this year, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, that's where the drama is right now, is right in the middle of the pack. Only other thing I wanted to talk about in Super League is Piacenza. Piacenza beat Verona 3-0. That's no surprise. Verona is just an absolute dumpster fire, and I hate watching them, and they're frustrating and they're annoying, and I don't like it. They need Namori Keita back badly. Their statistics were horrific, other than having 15 blocks, which was good. In 3 sets, they had their middle attackers had 9 attempts. 9 attempts. That drives me crazy. I hate that so much. So Verona, figure it out. Fire Stoichev. We've talked about it a bunch. But the only thing I wanted to talk about here is something that I've never heard of or never seen anywhere ever. Manuel Zlatanov gets in the game for Piacenza at age 15. The youngest player in Superliga history. 15 years old, 8 months, 25 days. Finds his way in a Superliga game. Thinking about what I was doing at 15, especially like in a volleyball context. Like,
I was playing my first year of club.
Me too.
I was bad. There's
15 years old in the Superliga.
And he got a point.
Yeah, he did.
He went out there and got a point. You know what? Is he, can maybe our Italian fans can let us know, like, is he legitimate, or is this like, how does this come about?
How does this come about? Great question. I have no idea.
Because like, other than that, like, Leon was playing for Cuba when he was like 16, right? Micheletto was playing for Trento when he was like 18. But volleyball isn't generally a sport that you really excel at the younger ages.
Not at all.
Gymnastics.
No.
There's a lot of physicality. You really need to come into yourself to be able to play. So the fact that he was able to go there and get a point, outstanding for you, kid.
Yeah, to even be like remotely close to physically ready to play in the Superliga at 15 and a half is the nuttiest thing I've ever heard. So
Yeah.
credit to Manuel Zlatanov. I think that record of youngest player in the Superliga, that's going to stand for a while. That's going to stand for a while. I don't see anybody breaking that one.
Definitely not, especially
All-
not in this day and age.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to chat about from this past week of the Super Leg of Volley there? Rob
Padova
St.
beat
Clair?
Padova beat Catania, Perugia beat Cisterna, whatever. Those are
Who cares?
expected.
Who cares? Although Theo Fort is still leading the Superliga right now in scoring. He has 159 points in 8 matches played. Micheletto is in second with 144.
That's not surprising. I mean, he's really the only scorer on Cisterna's roster.
Yeah, pretty much. He's the only guy. Paul Buchkager, though, is leading in points per set with 4.89.
It's because Catania hasn't played very many sets because they get 3-donged all the time.
You're not wrong.
Sorry.
You're not wrong.
All right. Lega Volley Femminile. Let's check out a couple things here. The first thing that jumped out to me is, so when you see Malonza beating Casalmaggiore in 5, you might think like, okay, what the hell is Malonza doing? They did play the bench for the first 2 sets, but what really jumped out to me here was the score of the 5th. That is not a typo.
That's a disrespectful score.
That says 15-2.
That's a disrespectful score.
That is not a typo. 15-2. Oh, I looked at the stats. I think it was mostly Dana Retke's serving. She went on like a 9-point run or something like that. It was I think like 2 or 3 unforced errors, 2 or 3 aces, 2 or 3 blocks. Like it was just never even competitive. I mean, 15-2. You don't see.
You know what this scoreline reminds me of, Rob? This is going to be very topical. Have you seen that clip that started going around from the weekend of a basketball game? And there's a guy going in. He's got like an open layup, goes to lay it in. He gets blocked. Yeah. The ball comes down. The guy who blocks it grabs it, and the guy has fallen out of bounds. And he throws the ball at him, so he catches the ball out of bounds. Just goes the other way. Like, the disrespect of that play is the disrespect of this game. You're being like, oh my God, like, we're beating Monza. Like, we can do this. We can do this. Nope. Sorry. Nope. Like 15-2. You don't matter.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, Malonza like started with basically the whole bench. They put in Egonu and some other characters, and like I think late second set started the third set, and then never looked back. And yeah, it was.
So wait, you tell me that it was all off of Retke's serving in the 5th?
So she
standing float.
She had 9 service attempts and 2 aces. Just kind of like a jump float, yeah, like pretty pedestrian looking serve.
Yeah,
honestly.
like that's like I respect Retke's game a lot, but serving is not one of the areas that I think she's phenomenal in.
I agree.
So that's a bad look for Casalmaggiore. That to me is a mental breakdown
for sure. I mean that pretty clearly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was real interesting. And then Conegliano Novara ended up being a pretty good game. 3-1. Novara statistically wasn't super good. They didn't have a whole lot going on offense. Like, let's see. Vida Akimova was 17, was the only player doing anything at all on offense. But I thought Khalil Lanier was really good, which I love to see. 12 for 33 with 5 aces. That's pretty nice.
Love that.
Yeah, I like to see that. Other than that, really no drama. We did see Bergamo get their first win after firing their coach, but they played Trentino, who's the worst team in the league. So
that's too bad. That's too bad that Trentino's bad.
It's weird that Trentino's bad. It is the same organization. It's the same club as the men,
mm-hmm.
and the men
maybe one of our Italians can give us some insight as to why the men are so good and the women are so trash.
Just clearly they just don't put the same amount of resources in it. They aren't there yet, because they bounce back and forth between the top league, and they've been relegated a couple times the last few years.
I'm trying to see if there's Roma just continues to pick up wins, eh?
Roma's good.
Like, I love the fact that Roma's good, and I've said this before. It's like I like it when big cities are good at volleyball.
Me too.
I think it's important. Like, volleyball has always been like, even when you go to Poland, like a lot of the volleyball is played in smaller cities. Like in Italy, it's the same thing. Like it's not the big, because like the big cities have big soccer clubs, and like volleyball kind of falls off to the wayside. So I like it when big cities are good, because it just, it helps grow the sport a little bit more.
Totally. Yeah, like Milano on men's and women's, or Milano on the men's side is by far the biggest city that has a Superliga team. And it's fun when they're good, and it's fun when Roma's good. It's fun when Warszawa is good, in Poland, for example. Now Turkey has all their best teams in the biggest cities, but it's fun when Berlin is good, obviously. Yeah, it's good to have good volleyball being played in big places.
Yeah. All right, Rob, let's move on from Italy. Unless, do you have the standings there? You want to flash the standings now? All right. Cool.
I don't have them. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
Here are the Plusliga standings, though. We can talk about Poland a little bit. I didn't see anything super exciting. Like, definitely no upsets on paper. I watched a couple games, though. I watched Zaksa play Cuprum Lubin, and I need to look it up. Another sort of mid-season move, or a guy that became healthy, or a guy that I didn't know much about. This Krzysztof Zapłacki guy. I know really nothing about him, but I think he set this game. No, who is he? Is he a middle? No, he was an outside.
For who? Sorry?
For Zaksa.
Against Lublin?
Yeah, I guess. He didn't really score much, but came in and passed the ball and served an ace. And maybe he's like a backcourt DS of some kind. I don't know. I guess just an outside that was only really a passer, and they just didn't set him. But he was there, and it was good enough to get a 3-0 win. And Jake Haynes, I think Jake Haynes is hurt for Lubin. He started this game but didn't finish it, and he was good. So I think that he might have gotten hurt in the middle, which is a bummer.
Jake Haynes has been good this. I think he fits in well in the Polish league. Suwałki up 2-0 on Belchatov right now.
Oh, they're playing right now? Okay, interesting. Yeah, Skra got
25-21 in both the sets.
Okay.
I do want to chat about Zawiercie beating Gdansk this week. I thought that was a really good win.
That was probably the best game on paper. Yeah, Trevor Kleveno was super good. 17 for 26, 57% efficiency. That's awesome. And Mateusz Biniak had a very Mateusz Biniak-like stat line: 11 for 17, 2 blocks and 4 aces. This is the Zawiercie I was waiting for. This is the Zawiercie that I picked to win the league this year. They're awesome.
And honestly, I tuned into this one for a little bit, and there was at times when it looked like I thought that Gdansk was going to run away with this one. I thought they were starting to look really, really good, and Zawiercie battled back nicely. This was a good look for Zawiercie for me.
Yeah, and Gdansk is kind of playing greater than their talent on paper, because they lost They lost all their best players from last year, but Mikołaj Sawicki is having himself a really good year at outside. Him and Jan Martinez is a nice little duo, because Martinez, we know, the Argentinian guy who's littler. I mean, he went 12 for 22 on offense, which is sick. But Sawicki's got a cannon. So Gdansk is solid, and they have one of our favorite setters in Lucas Kampa, who actually isn't even playing that much. It's interesting.
Yeah, but that is interesting.
Who's Patrick
the German?
I know that's a funny translation. If you go on the Bundesliga website, it's Patrick the German.
Is Winiarski still coaching Gdansk?
No, he's on Zawiercie.
No, he's Zawiercie. Okay,
it's a revenge game for him against his former club.
Yeah. Did you see? A bunch of all the new Zawiercie players got knighted.
Yeah, I did see that
after the game. I saw that on Instagram, and they all gave in a little toque that looks like a knight's helmet. I would love to hear because it seems like knights are a very big theme around Zawiercie. I'd love to hear why.
Yeah, I don't know why. It is kind of fun. I like it. Other than that, all the big dogs in the Plusliga won this week. Like Resovia 3-dong, Skra, Zaksa won, Warszawa won easily, JSW won easily. We saw Taylor Averill get in for Warszawa a little bit, which is awesome. Have you seen on Taylor's Instagram? Are you familiar with his play that he calls the Golden Eagle? I love it. I love it when this happens.
Then he was also posting about how So Cody Kessel had to slot in as middle for Berlin, and Kessel got one in his first game.
Amazing. That's so good. So for people that haven't seen it, it's when if you get an overpass as a middle, instead of going up and hitting it, you go up and jump set it to your outside, and he takes a swing on the second contact. And Taylor calls that the golden eagle, and he got one in his first game back with Warszawa. And then like Everett said, Cody Kessel randomly playing in the middle, he got one for Berlin. It was on Instagram. It was pretty sick. It's a cool play.
Love it. I love it.
Right.
Anything else here to talk about Plus Liga?
Nope.
Is there anything else in terms of other leagues or anything else that we want to chat about?
Real quick, we were talking about Vakif Bank earlier. They struggled to beat Aydin this week in the Sultanar Ligi, and just sort of a continuation of the theme that team's just got to figure it out a little bit.
Yeah, there seems to be some issues on the back end. I wonder what's going on over there. Is Guidetti losing his control?
Yeah, so some people are asking the questions. Maybe those some people are Everett Delorme, but some people are asking the questions. Also, THY needing 5 sets to beat Chukarova is really bad. Like, that team is not good. And THY with, I think, like Makris and Julia Bergman and like all those players that were bigger names have just not been good this season for that team. THY currently not in playoff position.
Yeah, they have been struggling mightily. All right, want to go talk about some World Club Championships here, Robert?
Yes, our favorite tournament, the Club World Championship.
I think this one might be good.
This one's gonna. I think this one's gonna be kind of good. Yeah.
I think if there was ever the chance to have it be a good one, I think it would be this one. I really think it would be. But we'll have to see. 6 teams, of course, going to be competing in this one. And when you go down the list, Rob, it's actually not that bad. 5 of the 6 teams are actually legitimate. We still have 2 teams from Brazil. I don't know why. But in Group A, we've got Minas, Perugia, and then the Ahmedabad Defenders, the home team out of India. Of course, playing in the Pro Volleyball League from India.
I can't wait to see them play Perugia. That's gonna be so funny.
That is gonna be must-watch TV for me, no doubt about it. Pool B, you've got Sada Cruzeiro. Of course, they basically buy their way in every year. Halkbank Ankara, and then for the first time, as long as I've known the World Club Championships happen, I've never seen a Japanese team play.
I'm excited.
Suntory Sunbirds coming in. Dmitry Mazursky, baby. Dmitry Mazursky. When's the last time you get to watch Dmitry Mazursky play?
I haven't watched Dmitry Mazursky probably since before COVID. And he's the best. He was one of the best players of a generation. He was the best middle blocker in the world for a while there. He was obviously the storyline of the greatest coaching decision of all time, moving him to the right side in the 2012 Olympics. And obviously he's gigantic and old and slow and way past his prime. But I miss Dmitry Mazursky. I'm excited to have him in my life again this week. Yeah, it's interesting. Like you said, the Japanese teams for some reason never show up in this tournament because I guess they never usually play the Asian Club Championship. But I guess this year they decided to.
The Iranian teams love to just pack
they do.
Every year for the Asian Club Championships, they just pack their teams with like Engapeth and Namir and Simone and Gord Perrin and all of these guys, and they win. And then they bring like the worst teams. I will never forget the fact that an Iranian team lost to Trinity Western back in 2012 in this event. Like, that will forever be one of my favorite things. Fun fact: the Spartans had 27 blocks in that match.
Oh my god!
Right? Like, you got blocked 27 times by a bunch of like university kids. Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have yet to find the respect for an Iranian team at these events. I hope the Suntory can do a little bit better.
Yeah, I hope so too. Minas, as far as Brazilian teams go, I think they're okay. They've got a couple names you recognize. They've got Arthur Buchmiuk, the Canadian Brazilian.
No,
guy.
He got injured.
Oh, he did? Bummer.
Yeah, he got injured and he had to have surgery earlier this season, so he's out for the season.
That's too bad. They also have Austin Wilmot, an American middle from Pepperdine, who I like. So I'm hoping the best for him. But Sada Cruzeiro is obviously the best team in Brazil. They always are. I assume they've got kind of the usual suspects, like Miguel Lopez and Wallace, and yeah, okay, I'm looking at it. Uriarte setting, Lucao, Otavio, yeah, the usual suspects.
I'm looking at the Ahmadabad roster right now. They do feature former NCAA player Max Seneca, from
Australian guy.
Who plays for Australia, formerly at the University of Charleston.
Okay. Speaking of Charleston, I just did a video yesterday with all the coaches in the EIVA, including our boy Luke Reynolds. So that was real fun. Go check that out. But this tournament, I mean, it's going to be Perugia versus Hawkbank, and it will probably be in the finals unless Hawkbank loses to Sada Cruzeiro and Pool somehow. But when those two teams do play, and they will, either in the semis or the finals, I'm very excited for that because they won't play in Champions League. Remember, Perugia is not in that tournament. I think that it'll be fireworks if and when we see Hawkbank versus Perugia. So that will be fun. That's worth tuning into. The times of these games, if you're in North America, are not great. They're pretty early in the morning. They're at like 5:30 a.m. my time. At least that's when they start. So, but there's usually like a 9 a.m. game my time that I'll be able to watch. So yeah, it starts tomorrow, and so pool play Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, semifinals Saturday, medal matches Sunday. All on Volleyball World TV if you want to watch.
Yeah, I'll probably tune into a little bit of stuff. I really want to watch the Suntory play.
Me too. As for Japanese guys, like they didn't have as many Japanese national team guys as I wanted them to have. I was looking at the roster. I think they have Onodera the middle, and that was about it. But I'm excited to see Mazursky. That'll be fun.
I don't think Suntory is like one of the best teams in Japan this year. I haven't really been following Japan all that much, but
I'm gonna try and pull up the standings of the V League right now. Okay, so Suntory is in second.
Okay,
They're behind the JT Thunders. So yeah, they're having a pretty good year.
Isn't JTech the team Nishida and stuff like that?
I think
so.
What
are they doing in seventh?
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, so Suntory's got Onodera. They've got Rui Takahashi, who's a not to be confused with Ran. They've got Yu Yuan Tai, the Chinese outside who plays for the national team. I'm surprised that they have room on the roster for him. They've got a Cuban guy, of course. Who doesn't have a Cuban guy? I honestly don't recognize that many names on this Suntory team. So, but I'm excited to see Mazursky. I think that'll be fun. So people in the chat who are more familiar with Japanese ball are telling us what's up. I'm excited for Hawkbank versus Perugia. That's going to be a must-watch game.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do think there's a little bit more intrigue. Like I'm interested to see how the Japanese team does. I'm also very wildly intrigued to see how this Indian team does. I'm just excited to see as well because I know that India's like the PVL has done pretty well and they've got good crowds and like there's been good fanfare around it. So I'm interested to see kind of what happens over there.
Me too. Yeah, playing it in India, that's kind of the thing I'm most interested in is like putting volleyball in India on the world stage like this. I don't expect their team to be very good, but it does seem like the PVL the last 2 years has been commercially successful, and there is definitely some fan support for volleyball in India. So I'm excited to see how that goes, just how they are at running an international event. So that's kind of what I'm going to have my eyes on. It'll be interesting. Yeah.
Very much so. I think it's going to be a good time. I would love to see them play with the PVL rules. That's really what I want to see.
Best of 7 to 15 and super
best
points
of 7 to 15, cap at 15. You don't need to win by 2, super point, all of that stuff. Love it. I absolutely love it.
That would be so funny if they played that for the World Club Championship. All right. Last but not least, Everett, I think the last thing we got to talk about is the Sweet 16 of the women's NCAA tournament. It was a good first couple of days. That first round on like Thursday and Friday last week definitely had some upsets, but now that we're of the final 16 teams, I think it's almost entirely chalk. Like I think the lowest seeded team to make it this far is a 5 seed. Like Georgia Tech and Penn State beat their respective 4 seeds. And so did Arizona State. They beat BYU, but everybody else is all the seeded teams made it predictably to the Sweet 16. And now we're going to get some bangers. Now we're going to get some really, really fun games. The round of 16 is Thursday. The round of 8 is Saturday, and I'm really excited about them.
Yeah, I would be too if I could watch. I've been finding it a little difficult from Canada to watch these matches. But from what I understand, it's been a fantastic tournament so far. I'm still pulling for Kentucky to make that
And
run.
Joe.
They're going to be Joe. They're going to be taking on Arkansas. The round is Sweet 16, so that's going to be fun. What do you think the best matchup here is?
Wisconsin versus Penn State is awesome. Like Penn State is a little bit down this year, but you can never count that program out. And I like seeing conference rivalries in the NCAA tournament. So like Big Ten game there, SEC game with Arkansas versus Kentucky. Like Arkansas is good, and so is Kentucky. That's fun. Pac-12 game, Arizona State versus Stanford. That's fun. I think I don't know very much about Washington State. I'm curious to see how they hang in against Pitt. And then Purdue versus Oregon. Obviously, I'm interested in that with my Boilermakers having a good first 2 games at home, but now without that home crowd advantage against Oregon, who's good. I'm curious to see how that goes. Texas versus Tennessee. I'm not as high on Tennessee as their ranking. They're a 3 seed. I think Texas should take care of them, honestly, pretty easily. And same with Nebraska against Georgia Tech. I don't think that'll be that close. But Creighton versus Louisville is good as well. Louisville's been to the Final Four recently, and Creighton is really solid.
Okay. I love that. Sorry.
And I think these will be like last week, it was all like ESPN Plus. Like not only was it geo-blocked in the US, you also had to have a subscription. I think it's going to be a little bit easier to watch them this week. So get in the Volleyball Source Discord. We will figure it out how to watch this games out if you're outside of the US, and we'll help you out in there. So join that. We'll join that anyway, obviously, but definitely for this.
Maybe we can have some of our American fans stream it on Discord for us.
Yeah, that's possible. That's worked for us before. Shout outs to Bear Kai for helping one of the Champions League games last week. That was nice.
He's done it a few times though. It's been great. It's been great.
Yeah, good point in the chat. That Hawaii-Oregon game was super good. Oregon. No, wait. Hawaii almost got Oregon. Am I looking at the wrong game? Because that was a 3-dong. Hawaii did beat Iowa State, though, in the first round, which I predicted. I called that upset. There were a couple of those first-round upsets that I felt good that I was on top of. Like, what was the other one? Yeah, Minnesota beating Utah State. I called USC giving Pittsburgh a game. I wasn't surprised by that. Yeah, the NCAA tournament's cool, and yeah, these games are going to be super good starting Thursday. So get in the Discord. We will help you. We'll help you watch them. No, these are not on Volleyball World TV. Sorry, Volleyball World TV only has the Big Ten Conference, not the whole NCAA, and apparently not even the whole Big Ten Conference, which is really dumb.
It sucks. None of the big matches were on the Big Ten Conference on Volleyball World TV this year. Yeah. It sucked.
Yeah, that's
you can watch Rutgers though if you want.
Gross.
Rutgers is always on there. Iowa too.
Don't watch Rutgers. If I can give you one piece of advice about the NCAA anything for any sport, don't watch Rutgers. Just don't do it. I think that's it. I think that's a show. Do we have anything else?
No, I think that's tutto finito.
Cool. Thanks for watching. Thanks for dealing with our slightly earlier time slot than usual. Tune into Women's Champions League tomorrow, or honestly, don't. It's probably not going to be that good. Tune into the Club World Championship on the men's side. Tune into the usual volleyball over the weekend, Women's NCAA Tournament, and one last time, please go check out the links in the description to support Thompson Rivers University and their recovery if you can. And that's it. Thanks for watching. We will see you all next week.
Adios, guys. Have a great week.